All right, guys. Well, Donald Trump promised a lot of stuff, and he promised to do most of it on day one of his presidency. And as most of us know that aren't in the MAGA cult, he hasn't followed through on most of his promises, if not all of them, to be honest. In fact, for the most part, Donald Trump's first month of presidency has been nothing but firing people that are not part of the swamp, just a bunch of people that are regular people that have jobs that they've worked for their whole lives and now will be seeking unemployment benefits because Donald Trump and Elon Musk fired them without knowing who they were, what they do, or whether or not they're good at it. So let's take a look at some of the day one promises that Donald Trump made, and let's see how he's doing. So this is an article from the BBC just recently published. It's called Has Trump Kept His Day One Promises? Reducing prices. Donald Trump said, when I win, I will immediately bring prices down starting on day one. And of course, what we've seen so far from Donald Trump is the exact opposite, as this has actually incurred higher prices in America for the first time in the last 16 months. Of course, Donald Trump, almost immediately in taking office, told everybody that he wasn't going to be able to bring those prices down anyway, so this should really come as no surprise.
In his interview with Time, the president-elect backed off his central campaign promise to lower prices for consumers, including on groceries.
And the fact that he blamed Joe Biden should also come as no surprise. Mass deportations. Now, mass deportations were the one thing that most likely we all thought he was going to be able to actually follow through on. This is something that everybody in his base are wildly excited about. They don't know why. They think they're taking their jobs. They think that they're taking their Social Security benefits. They think that they're taking everything because Donald Trump has convinced them that there are barbarians at the gate and they are stealing everything. But even with this promise, Donald Trump has fallen flat. He was quoted as saying, on day one, I will launch the largest deportation program in American history to get the criminals out. It says here, immigration has perhaps been Trump's main focus since taking power, with more than a dozen executive orders aimed at overhauling the system. His plan to deport foreign nationals in the country illegally, starting with those convicted of crimes, seems to have widespread public support. But it is uncertain whether he will meet his promise to deport so many. A few raids have made headlines, but the number of people being removed does not seem to be record-breaking, according to the daily figures. In his first month in office, the U.S. deported 37,660 people, less than the monthly average of 57,000 removals and returns in the last full year of Joe Biden's administration. So even with this, the promise that was probably going to be the most important thing to those people out there that are obscenely scared of immigrants that are stealing their jobs and stealing their Social Security and everything else that they believe that they're doing, committing crimes nationally, terrorism, all this crazy stuff, and Donald Trump has sucked at it so far. Now, also, he talked about the January 6th pardons. Now, this is one place where it gets a little bit complicated. Donald Trump had said, I'll be looking at J6 early on, maybe the first 9 minutes. That is rather specific, to be honest with you. I don't understand why it would be within the first 9 minutes, but sure, whatever. He said he was going to pardon people. He pardoned all of those people. Now, mind you, J.D. Vance and other people around him had said that they weren't going to pardon the worst offenders, the people that had attacked cops and caused criminal violence.
If you committed violence on that day, obviously you shouldn't be pardoned, and there's a little bit of a gray area there, but we're very much committed to seeing the equal administration of law.
But we all know how Donald Trump went about giving those pardons, as he couldn't be asked to seriously sit down and look through each one of these pardons and determine, who were child sex offenders and who were domestic violencers. No, he just said, I don't have time for this. I have better things to do on day one, so just pardon them all, which of course has ended in one of these people being shot in a traffic stop, multiple of them being rearrested, some of them being looked for right now because they had solicited a minor, and they're out and they're running free, all because Donald Trump couldn't take 2 minutes of his time to sit down and make sure that the people that he was pardoning weren't the worst offenders, which people like J.D. Vance and others had promised that he would. So did he follow through on this promise? Yeah, he did, but in a really, really poor, shitty way that is going to impact people across the country. In fact, I'm going to guess that more January 6th pardon getters are going to be probably committing more crimes than immigrants this year. Ending the Ukraine war. Donald Trump said they're dying, Russians and Ukrainians. I want them to stop dying, and I'll have that done. I'll have that done in 24 hours. Well, here we are 30 24s later, and we still do not have an end to the Ukraine war. In fact, to be honest with you, at this point, it looks as though the things that I said before the election, and when I said that Donald Trump was going to get elected and he was going to just give Russia whatever they want, he was going to pull aid from Ukraine, he was going to put them in a really bad position and make it so that way they had to accept any peace offering from Russia, is going to happen. And to make it even worse, he's now going to pillage the minerals that the Ukrainians have over there because, fuck trade. Let's just take it from them while they're weakened. So once again, just a whole lot of failure on Donald Trump's side here. We have ending birthright citizenship, which Donald Trump told NBC in December he absolutely planned to end birthright citizenship on day one. If somebody sets a foot of just a foot on our land, congratulations, you are now a citizen of the United States of America. Yes, we're going to end that. Now, we all know how that has ended, as that is caught up in the courts, and people have already started challenging his right to do that, and a federal judge has already said that he can't end birthright citizenship. So this is most likely going to end up in the Supreme Court, which we all know about the Supreme Court and their leanings. So we'll see how that goes. Blanket tariffs on Canada and Mexico. On January 20th, as one of my many first executive orders, I will sign all necessary documents to charge Mexico and Canada a 25% tariff on all products coming into the United States and its ridiculous open borders. Of course, since that has happened, we all know that he challenged Canada to add more border agents and to create a czar and all this other BS that he wanted them to do, and they did it. But the crazy thing, of course, is that they had already done all of these things under the Biden administration, and Donald Trump is just now taking credit, acting as though he's some type of strongman that forced Canada to do this by imposing his tariffs, which, of course, like I said, Biden had already agreed to these things, and these things were already taking place other than like the fentanyl border czar that was created. And of course, we also know what happened with Mexico, as they had already diverted many soldiers to the border to help stop fentanyl coming across the border and to also, stop the human trafficking and those types of things as well. And, he got them to commit to those same soldiers being there now. It's a total failure on his part as far as tariffs go so far. And we've all seen it, and anybody that isn't a MAGA cult member can clearly see that Donald Trump's play at adding tariffs to force people to do things hasn't done anything but create poor relationships with people that we once considered our allies. So as far as what Donald Trump has done so far on day one, almost everything seems to be a failure so far. I mean, the mass deportations, nothing's happening. They're blaming it on states, saying that, they're not working with us, they're not helping with us, the tariffs aren't working, they haven't done anything with the tariffs other than to threaten people with them and then get things that had already been promised. The January 6 people are running wild out there and doing the same things they were doing before they committed crimes at the Capitol, and that is committing crimes elsewhere in the United States of America. Egg prices continue to go up, inflation continues to go up, and unemployment numbers probably will be going up soon as well, because after you fire 250,000 federal employees, that's what's going to happen. And though if you ask me, I would probably tell you that most people out there wouldn't give two shits about any of these things, it does seem to be affecting Donald Trump's poll numbers. His approval rating has gone down.
Let's take a look at Trump's numbers right now. This is his net approval rating. These are polls, 4 of them released over the last week. And you might notice there's a lot of red on the screen and a lot of negatives. Trump is underwater in all these polls. His net approval rating, look at this, -5 points in the CNN poll, -6 points in Gallup, -7 points in Ipsos, -4 points in Quinnipiac, negative, 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 and then negative. He is underwater in all of these polls. As I said earlier this week, he's a little bit like the Little Mermaid, underwater. It ain't good for President Trump. It ain't good. In Gallup, he's down 5 points on net approval. Quinnipiac down 7 points. In the Reuters Ipsos poll, get this, down 13 points. Their first poll was conducted, I believe, January 20th to 21st. And you can see how much Trump's numbers have taken a dive. How much they've taken a dive since he's come into office. The bottom line is, a month in, voters are not liking what Trump's doing compared to how they thought they'd feel a month ago. Even when Trump was underwater during pretty much all of his first term, he was positive on the economy. Trump's net approval rating on the economy in February 2017, he was 5 points above water in the average poll. Look at where he is now. The economy, which was once his bread and butter, has all of a sudden been something that is holding him back. He's actually doing worse on the economy than he is doing overall in the average poll. That, to me, is just shocking.
So far, the only thing that Donald Trump has actually accomplished in his presidency's first month is to give ultimate authority to a ultra-billionaire tech oligarch named Elon Musk, who has gone through the government system and audited it and gotten rid of a bunch of agencies that were investigating him. And I do hope that Americans can see this is what's going on, because at this point, they're not even trying to hide it. It's blatant and it's in your face because for the most part, they think you're stupid enough to just believe that what they're doing is good for you. And if you think this is going to change anytime soon and Elon Musk is going to give you a $5,000 rebate from all the Doge savings that he claims he's gotten, well, I have a wake-up call for you. $5,000 ain't gonna be shit when your money ain't worth anything. When people have no jobs, when the economy is failing, when Elon Musk has finally finished with his work. That $5,000, it ain't gonna get you a dozen eggs. Alright guys, well, you guys let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on all notifications, and remember, love you guys, appreciate you guys. Hope to see you next time. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please like and subscribe and hit that notification bell, and check out that video on the screen now.